These days, it's all about smart devices, smartphones, smart kitchen appliances, and smart TVs. The global smart TV market is projected to top $450 billion by 2030. That's according to a report from Research and Markets. And that's because more homes are buying in, with 76% of American TV households saying they've snagged a smart TV, according to a study from Hub Entertainment Research. Now, as TVs get smarter, so do the companies that make them. They're able to track what you're watching and, in some cases, track where you're watching and what other apps you're using. So, for this installment of What the Tech, we're asking, why are smart TVs collecting information about us? Jim Wilcox is with us now. He's the senior electronics editor with Consumer Reports. Jim, thank you for joining us. And, we hear sometimes that new technology is spying on us. So how true is that? Like, can my smart TV hear me talk about White Lotus or The Last of Us? What's going on?
Well, the thing is, if you have a TV that has voice commands and you're talking into the microphone, it'll hear what you're saying. A couple of things have happened. It's, one of the things for TV manufacturers is that there's not a lot of margins on TVs. And so this is a whole new business model for them, is collecting and selling data. And so it's become like a lot of other smart devices in your home that's constantly monitoring what you're doing, collecting information about what you're doing, and then selling that information to marketers for advertising purposes.
I mean, how big is this opportunity at this point? Because the first thing I was going to ask is, who are they selling it to? You're saying marketers and advertisers. How lucrative are we talking?
I don't really know, but I assume it's $1 billion industry. It's not something they talk a lot about. But all of the TV brands do it. You have varying degrees of how much you can control the data that's being collected. But certainly for these manufacturers, it's a revenue stream that didn't used to exist. And, not only just TV manufacturers, but, all of the apps that you use on the TV, they all have their own privacy policy. So it's really hard for consumers to get control of all this data collection.
I mean, to that point, and I know you mentioned there are a couple of options, it kind of just depends. But I mean, are there ways you can opt out of sharing information? And if so, how?
So the big thing that a lot of TVs do, they use a technology called ACR. It stands for automatic content recognition. And basically what they're able to do is capture snippets of every single thing that you watch on the TV, plus snippets of everything on devices that are connected to the TV. So it could be a Blu-ray player, a game machine. And so they're able then to monetize that data. So almost all of the manufacturers that do that, they do have options where you can turn off ACR technology. What'll happen, though, is you'll lose some of the smart TV features. Like, a lot of people get program recommendations. That probably won't happen, and they won't be targeted.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there, but you do have some options. I'm curious about this. Which smart TV is least likely to keep tabs on me?
There's no good answer to that. All of the TV brands are doing it. With some TVs like an Amazon Fire TV or a Google TV, you have to agree to their policy, or the TV basically isn't a smart TV. It's just a dumb TV. Other brands will allow you certain controls, so you can turn off the targeted advertising. Doesn't mean you won't get ads. They just won't be targeted to you. You can turn off the ACR technology. And, for some, I would just say, one thing you shouldn't do with a TV is use the web browser.
Oh, why?
Because that gives them a whole nother insight into what you're doing apart from what's on that TV. And certainly other devices in your home are collecting that data, but this way you're giving that manufacturer and the data brokers that they sell this data to additional information that they don't need.
Okay, so avoid that web browser on the smart TV. Jim Wilcox from Consumer Reports, thank you so much for joining us on The Why. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.